because that's the environment. But see, don't forget, we are now in the age of Aquarius. We're in the age of the future. And thus, not only does this serve Aquarians, but any woman. So this is the age of Aquarius and the age of women. So you see women's liberation and things like that. But then we're in the age of Aquarius, and it's always some odd and unusual. All of it is about mathematics, frequencies, and numbers are frequencies. Numbers are energies. Numbers are force fields. So numbers is the supreme mathematics. In fact, that is the only universal language on the planet.
So, we're in 2024. Do the numbers within 2024, we know it adds up to 8, but do the numbers within also have an influence over what's going on this year? Or is it just add them across and then 8?
You, young lady, are a brilliant woman. I love the questions you ask. You can ask me questions all day long.
I wanted to say, so they're not tracking us through the cameras. They're tracking us through our phones. That's what I'm hearing.
Like me being Aquarius, I haven't watched TV in almost a year. I haven't missed anything. Yet I'm still able to keep up with what's going on.
Real quick, I wanted to tap into giving some power back to the people in terms of just money and career in the next, let's say, the next year, and then...
And I've read everybody from January the 1st to the end of the year.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Transformation to Expansion. I'm your host, LaJuan. Today, we have a very, very, very special guest. His name is Lloyd. He is a native Harlem, New Yorker, astro-numerologist. Please welcome him to the show. Thank you so much, Lloyd, for being here.
Thank you.
What is an astro-numerologist? I've heard about astrology. I've heard about numerology. But what does it mean when we combine both?
Well, to give you a background, first of all, thank you for inviting me on. I'm excited about being here. Most people are very familiar with astrology. Almost every newspaper, at least here in the States, you pick up, except with the exception of the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, carry a horoscope. So even skeptics, if they said, I don't believe in this, I says, well, what's your sign? They'll say Capricorn, or give me some sign. All right. So it just shows you. Well, numerology seems to be the new kid on the block, but it's actually older than astrology. And so what I've done is, because my background was initially in astrology, and then I was acquainted and introduced to numerology, I combined the best of both worlds. What is the similarity and what is the difference? I'm sure somebody out there want to know.
Of course.
Well, with numerology and astrology, they both deal with your birthday, okay? But unlike astrology, numerology deals with one other thing that astrology doesn't do. Not only does numerology deal with your birthday, it also deals with your name, which astrology doesn't do. Then the next question people refer to me, well, okay, Lloyd, which is the older of the two, numerology or astrology? Numerology. And I hear people saying, of course you're going to say that, Lloyd, because you're a numerologist. But let me put it this way. For anyone that goes to get a professional astrology reading, you must give them certain information. All of it is in numbers. You must give them the month you were born, the day you were born, the year you were born, the time you were born, and the location, which we now call the GPS. Because a person born at 1 o'clock in New York is not the same as a person born at 1 o'clock in California. Now, I've been to Hawaii. That means I go back in time 6 hours. I've been to China. I go 12 hours into the future. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very important. So what happens is, I would do a person's chart, right? And they say, well, I'm born 7:53 p.m. Okay, I do the chart. I get into it. Lo and behold, they ran across their birth certificate, and they wasn't born at 7:53 p.m. They were born at 7:53 a.m. Well, that 12-hour difference will change the whole aspect of the planet. So when I got into numerology, I didn't need all that. So if you didn't know what time you were born, we still good, okay? If you didn't know where you were born, we're still good. But as long as I got the month, day, and year, I got your number. And that's how it all starts. So numerology is actually the older of the two, but it's just like the new kid on the block, because now people are into it, and because we're always inundated with numbers. You can't give out your social. They said don't give out your password numbers or whatever the case is. And in fact, I've had a challenge that, like, if you don't believe in numbers, can you please send me your paychecks? Well, I've been waiting on to get somebody's paycheck for a number of years. They believe in those numbers, but numbers guide us. So what happens is, the common glue between the two of astrology and numerology are the planets. So if they talk about the planet of the sun to an astrologer, that means a Leo. To me, as a numerologist, it means the number one. If they talk about the planet Venus to an astrologer, that means we're either talking about Taurus or Libra. To me, we're talking about the number six or anybody born on the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th of the month. This is fascinating.
I love it. I love it. You know what's really important is that you find it fascinating, and through my experience in life, when you meet people who truly love what they're doing and whatever they're expressing or learning or teaching, those are the experts. Those are the people who are really going to know the ins and the outs of whatever it is they're teaching you and studying. And I love that I can feel it through, even though this is digital. It's like, no, I can really feel the passion that you have for astrology and numerology.
Oh yeah, I love this. Yes, and and one of the things being an Aquarian next door to you is I love helping humanity. But see, interestingly enough, not only you are Pisces, but you're a Pisces four person. So you're not just a Pisces anymore. So that means you are a water sign with an air number, and I'm an air sign with a water number. So we would mix very well in that chemistry. So four rules the sign of Aquarius because each number rules a sign in the zodiac. So as soon as you said a four, to me, if so, you could be a Pisces, but you could have an Aquarius moon or an Aquarius ascendant, or Aquarius is strongly aspected somewhere in your chart somewhere. You see what I'm saying? So this is why I find it so fascinating, and I've read everybody from January the first to the end of the year. I never get bored, never. This is very fascinating to me. And in fact, when I did your name, LaJoy, under the Chaldean system, it added up to the master number 22, and 2 plus 2 is 4. And you happen to be born on the 4th. Because, see, your name, see, birthday indicates why you're here. Your name tells me what you know. So your name will not only tell me your talent, your gifts, your skills and abilities, it will also indicate the kinds of people that you would draw into your life. You would be like their teacher. So I'm an Aquarius. If I got to know you and we went separate ways for whatever reason, I could say as a result of knowing you, I've learned something in the experience. So therefore, your name would attract Aquarians to you, Geminis and Leos to you, or people born on the 1st or the 4th, the 10th or the 13th, the 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. Yeah, because see, each number, and what I can do is I can explain about all the numbers from 1 to 9, the planets that rule them. And did you know each number also rules a part of the body? Well, the number 4, in your case, born on the 4th of the month, rules the mental faculties of the mind. So for you, I would always suggest to number 4 people that they should cut back on TV or cut back on anything that's negative or with all the drama that's going on in the world. Like me being Aquarius, I haven't watched TV in almost a year. I haven't missed anything, yet I'm still able to keep up with what's going on, but I'm not inundated with pharmaceutical commercials here in the United States, okay,
Right.
or anything of that nature. Because every commercial break, and then not only that, but when you get up to go into the kitchen or the bathroom or something, they raise the volume. In fact, the FCC even passed a rule about 10, 15 years ago to probably just make sure that the volume stays the same. But they figured out that you probably during a commercial break is going to get up and the sound will be increased to follow you. And I tell the person, when the COVID broke out and the country was shut down in March of 2022, they had these contests. How long can you hold your breath? How long can you do this contest? My contest was this: I have a crisp $100 bill that's all yours for free. The only catch is you must tell me how you're going to start your day from beginning to end without using numbers. It's impossible. I say it's
Yeah.
impossible. When you get up, the tendency is to either look to see what time it is, or you're going to want to make a call, or you want to get a call. If you live in an elevated building, you got to press a button. Then you can't get gas. You can't buy breakfast. You can't cook lunch. I mean, you can't do anything without numbers. And for the smart aleck that says, "Well, I'll stay in bed all day," I don't mean that. Try to go through a normal day without using numbers. I say it's impossible. And in sports, how you going to know what's going on without the score? How you going to know? You talk to an athlete, the greatest honor is for their number to be his or her honor number to be hung from the franchise and never to be used again by any athlete that comes from them. You know, so it's instant gambling. And and I tell to the guys, I said, suppose you met the most beautiful woman in the world like Joy, and you want to get to know her, and you ask for her number, and she says, well, Lloyd, you can call any number you want to. I'll be calling numbers till the cows come home. But if I dial the right 10 numbers in the right order, I get the right person I'm looking for. So numbers mean a lot. And see, we see numbers in the world everyday life. You go to a doctor, they will tell you your blood pressure, that will tell you fall within the norm. Each tooth in your mouth has a number. So the dental assistant, when instructed by the dentist himself, she or he will know what part of the mouth to look for because each tooth is assigned a number. You go to an accountant, they're going to tell you whether you owe taxes or whether you're going to get money from the Internal Revenue. So numbers play a very important part. And suppose you got a woman cooking for Thanksgiving dinner, and she puts the turkey in the oven. You think she's gonna come back 2, 3 days later, and the turkey is still there?
Not
No, you know. So and then and then measurements. Everything is measured, miles, meters. It's just the world. The world would really be lost without that. And the GPS was invented by a woman named Gladys, who actually developed the GPS, and she herself uses MapQuest of all the things. But you can't now, so all you got to do is punch in an address, and it will take you anywhere you need to go because of the satellites that are up there, and it looks at the longitude and the latitude and things like that. So it's fascinating, the world of numbers. The world would be boring without numbers. It would really be boring.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I mean, there would be no competition technically, right? Right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
um, and I love that because, like, we're always told numbers is the universal language. I mean, I guess Einstein said mathematics was, but mathematics is what is numbers. Okay, so, so when you were talking, what came up for me was, it kind of seems like numbers, well, yeah, numbers contain energy, right? And just the way you were describing it made me think of channels, right? It's like
Yes.
every single number, literally until infinity, it has a different channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I
I was
call
doing a
it
little
a
bit.
frequency or vibration. It's the same thing. These are interchangeable words, but they have a frequency. For example, here in New York City, I was on a radio station on FM 107.5. On the AM side, I was on 1190 WLIB. So whether you're on the FM side, the AM side, so when you're looking at your favorite TV show or listening to your favorite radio show, it's sending a frequency out over the airwaves that allow you to listen to that one, and I listen to another one. And so this is why it's just amazing the way. And now this whole popular things about drones that are flying, all of it is done and designed by the satellites in the heaven and the coordinates that do it. So and if you pull out your phone, whether it's an Android or iPhone, and you're lost, it can tell you where you just put it in, and they'll tell you where you are, and because the phones are GPSs too, and so they can find out certain things that'll bounce off the cell towers where you were. You said, no, I was over here, but your phone said you was over there. So I mean, it's amazing. All of it is complementary of numbers. So since we are so involved and immersed in numbers, we might as well understand how to use them to our advantage.
Get started on your wellness journey today. Whether you are starting your wellness journey, in the middle of it, or finishing it, this library will help you so much on how to jumpstart your wellness. And really, it has so much more than that. It has full guides on how to quantum leap, full guides on how to manifest, and even my personal favorite, coloring books. Yes, and I'm talking unique coloring books. Y'all already know who you're dealing with, okay? We have baobab coloring books, cactus plant coloring books, and so much more. And it's completely free. So please make sure to check it out, especially if you're on your wellness journey, or if you know a friend who is on the wellness journey and wants some free resources, please let them know about the wellness library. Okay, the link is in the show notes below. I love y'all so much. Let's get back to the show. Of course, of course. Sorry, I just wanted to say, so they're not tracking us through the cameras; they're tracking us through our phones. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes. Yeah. So you can have a person commit a crime in New York, call themselves going to Atlanta, but they're able to bounce the cell towers off because they've got away with it. But all of it is mathematical. All of it is about mathematics, frequencies, and numbers are frequencies. Numbers are energies. Numbers are force fields. So numbers is the supreme mathematics. In fact, that is the only universal language on the planet. Are numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah, if I put one stick and two sticks on the other hand, I can talk to somebody. Technically, I can communicate to somebody in
Yeah,
China who doesn't speak English and don't know what I mean.
yeah. That's why they now have on your phones an interpreter app. So no matter where you go now, where before you would go to a foreign country and you might need an interpreter, now your phone will do the job for you. So if I'm in France and the first time for me, I'll turn on my interpreter and I'll speak into it in English and it'll translate it back in French to you. And then you'll speak in French and it'll translate it back in English to me. Such as the technology, it's amazing when used properly and understood properly. You know what I'm saying? So it's just amazing. It's just really amazing. So when it comes to numbers, we all have angel numbers. Your angel numbers are the 4, 1, and 3. What does that mean? I can see you thinking about it, okay? And what it means is each number is assigned a day in the week. And the 4 is assigned to Sunday as well as the 1, and the number 3 is assigned to Thursday. So if you had to say to me, Lloyd, what are my angelic days to be in the right place at the right time? I would always say it would always be on a Sunday and a Thursday. Okay, there are other days it might be friendly to you, like a Monday, but over and above that, and then there are certain numbers that are guardian angels in the sense that these are numbers that will caution you. So your cautionary numbers would be the 4 and the 5. Excuse me, the 6, the 5, and the 8. So that means your cautionary days would be on a Friday, followed by a Saturday, followed by a Wednesday. So if you've ever had a mishap or bump your toe or something like that, more than likely it's probably on a Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday. And it's not that you can't get past those days. Those are more what I call cautionary days. That I wouldn't have you put all your eggs in one basket. I wouldn't have you try to fight fight a court situation. I'd have you do it on the days or dates or months that are good for you too. And it even covers the years. So I can tell you, young lady, that some of the very important ages in your life was ages 4, age 10, age 12, age 13, age 19, age 21, 22, 28, 30, 31, 37. But if you notice, all those ages I said added up to either a 1 or a 3 or a 4. And I can also tell you about the years too, such as 2001 was important and 2002. And those were very important years. And then 2010, 2011, those were very important years for you. And so it goes on. So I can project not only the past, but I can project the future. So this year, for example, 2024 is the year of the 8. How did I do that? Simple. That's I got hooked into this. I said, oh, that's simple. I can count. The numbers only go from 1 to 9. I got 10 fingers. I got this. Well, if you put 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4, that adds to an 8. So thus this year is called the 8 universal year. The word universal means just that. Every single person on this planet is influenced by this year's energy cycle. I don't care what part of the human family you're from. I don't care what your religious beliefs are. I don't care what your economic status is. I don't care whether you're male or female or of this shade of the human family or that shade of the human family. Every single one of us, but the catch is to a greater or lesser degree, will feel the influence of this year. So if somebody
Mm.
says, well, okay, Lloyd, if you, what would be the year of 2034? Well, that would be the year of the 9 because 2 plus 0 plus 3 plus 4 equals 9. And thus, in that particular year, Aries will do well, Scorpios will do well, Leos will do well as anybody born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th of the month. So I'm like a forecaster. You know what I'm saying? So this year will favor those under the signs of Capricorn, Aquarius, Libra, or if they're born on the 4th, like somebody we know, or the 8th, the 13th, or the 17th, because 1 plus 3 is 4, 1 plus 7 is 8, the 22nd, the 26th, or the 31st of the month. And it's I make it simple, but this is why I've written 6 books. 4 of them can be seen on Amazon. You go to Amazon, you see 4 of my books in different colors, so you don't get it confused. In fact, this is my best-selling book right here, Numbers in You. Okay, so and I even have one on relationships. Lloyd's Numbers in You, Cosmic Blueprint to Happiness and Joy. It's a
Oh,
relationship guide because we're always in a relationship. And people think it's boyfriend, girlfriend, but the relationship first starts with your mom. That is the first person that greets you when you come. Then it's the father. Then it's your brother or sister. Then later on, it's family members, grandmother, grandfather, cousins, uncles, nieces, nephews. Then it goes into friends. And then we get to a certain age where it's boyfriend, girlfriend. Then we get to another stage where it's husband or wife. Then we get to another stage where it's a parent, a mother or a father. Then it gets to another stage where we are grandmothers or grandfathers. So from the womb to the tomb, we're always in a relationship.
I love that you see numerology as relationships. And I think that's a really beautiful way, not just of seeing it, but
Yes,
what's coming up is like, a lot of native peoples, they talk about relationship, like their whole perception of this earth is relationship. I have a relationship with the tree. I have a relationship with the grass. I have a relationship with the home that I'm in. And so I just
exactly.
love that you're coming from a similar perspective with numerology. So, we're in 2024. Do the numbers within 2024, we know it adds up to 8, but do the numbers within also have an influence over what's going on this year, or is it just add them across and then 8?
You, young lady, are a brilliant woman. I love the questions you ask. You can ask me questions all day long. Yes. So, for example, we're going to take 3 numbers similar to 2024. We'll have it 2006, and then we'll have it. I'll go back to 1997, 2006, 2015. What's the difference? Well, this year, 2024, all the numbers are even 2 and 2 and 4. If you look at 2015, well, 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 5 is an 8. If you look at 2006, 2 plus 0 plus 6 equals 8. If you look at 1997, 1 plus 9 plus 7 equals 26, and 2 plus 6 is 8. So in the case of 1997, every single one of those numbers is odd numbers, a 1, 2 9s, and a 7. Those were even numbers. If you look at 2015, there was a combination of even numbers and odd numbers. There was a 2 and a 0 even, a 1 and a 5, which are odd. If you look at the next cycle forward, which is 2033, which is the next cycle, you will have two even numbers and 2 odd numbers. So the numbers make it up. And the fact is that even numbers represents people who are more even minded, even keel. Okay. And so you got 2 2s, which are water, and then you have the 4, which is air. So this year is about things connected to intuitions, which is emotions, and air, which is logic.
That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love how you kind of put it back into astrology a little bit. That's really cool.
Odd numbers are masculine, even numbers are feminine. Not in the gender that we
Okay.
describe it as male and women, but uh, masculine numbers mean they're more action oriented. They take action. They are proactive. The even numbers mean they use more of their thinking process to do things. That's all. So if you look at a male in life, normally we're the more assertive, we're the hunters or whatever the case is. But the even numbers are the gatherers. Okay. And this is why women are so observant about what we men miss and overlook. Because we so busy trying to knock down walls and build the world and stuff like that. But women notice a little thing. I tell guys, I've met women who are slow, but I've never met a stupid woman. You'll always find out. Y'all just don't tell me how you'll do it, but you'll always find out. So
Right,
let's
for
say a guy you date and you say, you know, honey, are you dealing with anybody? You would respect them more if they said, you know what? Yes, I am, but I'm really feeling you and I want to get to know you more. You could appreciate that. But if I said, you know, no, girl, I ain't dealing with nobody, you know, I only got my eye on you, you're gonna find out anyway.
right.
So I tell guys, don't do it. Don't just, you know, just keep it real. But what do I know? I had a client, she would tell me she divorced the husband and she told him after the reason why she says every time he was out doing something he wasn't supposed to do, he would always come home with his hat crooked.
Man,
You know, because sometimes we men will tell on ourselves,
that's funny.
you know. So it's not to but what I'm saying is we're really designed to complement one another, male, female, odd numbers, even numbers. It's a balance. That's how it is.
So would you say it's not a good idea to for me to be in a relationship with somebody who has the exact birthday as me?
No, 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 not exactly. You can.
Okay,
I've had
okay.
couples that were born on the same month and day. And then there's a couple that I know that was born on the same month, day, and year, and they had twins that were born on the same month and day as the parents. Okay, so there are all kinds of
Wow, that's
oddities, but
crazy.
there are ways. See, the month represents the physical attractions, and the dates represents the mental attraction. So let's say you came to me and said, Lloyd, I would like to find my soulmate. How do I do it? I would tell you that the months represent the physical attractions and the date of birth represent the mental attractions. Well, what do I mean? You know how you meet a person for the first time? Like we meet for the first time, I'm feeling you. I get along with you just great. You know what I'm saying? Then you can meet another person for the first time. They didn't say nothing to you or do anything to you, but you're not feeling them.
Mhm.
And it's an energy that we have. You can't explain it. It's a, you know, because we all give off this aura. You know, for people who are more in the esoteric world, they know there's an energy force field that we have around us. Okay. And so the month you're born, so for example, I'll take you as an example. You're born on the 4th of March. So your key numbers are the 4, 1, and 3. So therefore, your best months are always in February, March, August, and December. So if I was to ask you about the birth of your mom or dad or brothers or sisters, they'll be born late December into January, excuse me, late February, late January into February, late February into March, late July into August, or late November into December. Or they will be born on the 1st, the 3rd, the 4th, the 10th, the 12th, the 13th, the 19th, 21st, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month, 30th and 31st of the month. You see what I'm saying? And so if you look at the things, numbers just follow us. So numbers act as God. That's why I call them, these are angel numbers. So we're thinking about angel numbers because we looked at the phone and my God, that's that number. I saw that number again. But you need to look at your birthday because it'll tell you how to be in the right place at the right time in harmony with the universe.
Right.
What your best days are, your best dates, your best months, your best years, your best ages, and a host of other goodies. Well, let me put
Mhm.
it to you like this on my numerology app for phones, Android and whatever. I go with single stars, double stars, triple stars. If you have a triple
Mhm.
green star day, that means go for it, go for the whole gusto. If you got a triple red star day, if you must do anything important, go with all the caution and situational awareness as possible. Don't be going to a meeting and looking down at your phone and walk into a pole or fall into a hole. I've seen some on these social where a woman was so involved in her phone at the mall, she literally walked and tripped into the pool. You know, the pool where you throw your little pennies at and all that stuff.
Girl.
Yes, yes. So it's about being aware. So the reason why so the date is stronger than the day, and the day is stronger than
Mhm.
the month. Here's what I'm saying. If you look at the year, it's always consistent from January to December. If you look at the days in the week, it's always from Sunday to Saturday. The only variable is the dates. The dates always repeat themselves. So March 4th on last year on March 4th, you were born on that day. This coming March 4th, you were born on a different day. So the dates are always rotating. The months is consistent. The weekdays are consistent. The months are consistent. So to me, the date overrules the day. So for example, Wednesday would be one of your challenging days. The exception would be though, if it's a Wednesday the first, one of your numbers, Wednesday the third, one of your
Mhm.
numbers, or Wednesday the fourth. that the fact that one of your numbers will fall on that day will overpower that so-called stressful day. And you may say, well, Lloyd says
Mm-hmm.
that Wednesday's not one of my best days, but I'm having a great time. It could be Wednesday the 4th, Wednesday the 13th, Wednesday the 22nd, or the 31st. So that's what my app is designed to do, so people can make sense of the day that's in front of them and act accordingly.
Right. And yeah, so I love that because I think people's first introduction to numerology,
Mhm.
I think, you know, honestly, is angel numbers, right? But like you pointed out earlier, that's kind of an outward thing. You need to, see the angel numbers and maybe start thinking, okay, let me learn about the numerology of myself because
Yeah,
that's what's going to
yeah,
help me in the
yeah.
future. I mean, you won't see 1111 till the day you die. It's like you won't see it everywhere. But you really need to start learning, like, like, but you need to start learning like your number.
What I find interesting, just a moment ago, you gave 1111 as an example, and 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4, your number.
Okay, wait, does that correlate? Wait, hold on.
What I'm saying is, I've been doing this so long, I've learned to listen to a person. And a person will give out a number example. They said, well, suppose example, there were 4 of them. I says, more than likely, that person is either a 4 or 1 or born under the sign of Aquarius or Leo. Because each number rules a sign, each number rules a day and a date and a month. And we can do all the numbers from 1 to 9, because somebody said, I can see somebody in the podcast, well, what's my number then? Well, we all got numbers, and all numbers are assigned a day. They're also assigned an element. So the number 4, your date of birth, is air. So that means you use your powers of logic, your powers of deduction. But the only thing about 4s is they don't do it in the traditional, normal way. That's why I call your birth number the number of secret enemies: jealousy, envy, insecurity. And it always baffles you. Like, why? But if you understand that 4 is a visionary number, they're very futuristic. 4s love to think outside the box. So you'll be sitting in a meeting at the office, you'll say something, they say, yeah, yeah, right, right, Miss So and so and so and so. And then about a month or two later, you're in another meeting at the office, board can barely keep one eye open, and somebody got this great idea. And you'd be saying, excuse me, you raise your hand like you're in a class, excuse me, I said that. And so the person who really understands is a childhood friend that's been knowing you since elementary school, where she says, "Oh, Joy, girl, that sounds just like you with your crazy self." She know you're not crazy. They know from childhood experience, since knowing you as a child, there will be things you would say and do that will eventually come to pass. So you are ahead of yourself. And that's one of the things about poor people. They think outside the box. They don't do things in the normal way that most people do them. If everybody goes this way, a 4 want to go that way. If I want to do it this way, I do that. So if I says, I want you to stay at home, you think, honey, I just got found this great place we need to go out and visit or go to eat or something. But 4s just to be different. And yet 4s are very sensitive. 4s are very much misunderstood. 4s like to be their own best company. But 4 rules radio and television. So this dynamics that we're in is very good for us. And so once you're outside of the home, you know how to interact, all the social graces and whatnot. But your birthday suggested when you come home and close your door, the only one knocking on your door about to be Amazon bringing your delivery, FedEx bringing your
Okay.
delivery, but, but like, oh girl, I saw the light on. I forgot come and hang out. Normally 4 and 7s. I'm a 7, so we will both be the same. So if we were a couple, for example, we would see 4 and 7 have one thing in common. They like to stay under the radar. They know you but don't know you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this way, I talk to people so they don't think something is wrong with them, because this is a society that has to make you think something is wrong in order to sell you a product or service.
Hmm.
You might have a beauty mole looking gorgeous. They say, did you know that's an unsightly mole? Well, get out of here. I didn't know that. You were born with it all your life. But the other people, they may find it cheap. But this is how they sell you. I've been in sales. They try to point out something, and then your goal is to fulfill that need. And that's how it works.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring up sales because it's something that I've been studying the past year. And I hate how sales works right now. I really don't like it because I feel like they treat everybody like sheep, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's really, yeah, we ain't gonna get into it. We ain't gonna get into it, but
No, but it's just designed to find something that then they've got the solution to address that which is a concern. And as I said, you may have a beauty mark that's all your life that adds to your gorgeousness, but they'll make it seem like you need to take that off your face. Why? You were born with it. And if that enhances you, as long as you don't scare people when you're walking down the street where they got to stand against the wall in fear, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, everybody, we all got our little pimples, our little moles, our little imperfections, but they're designed to do it. And one of the things they sell the most is aging creams. And so when you look at it like that, and so it's how you look at your life, how you age into it. But they have a fear as if you're going to live forever. No one lives forever. I mean, I think we would all like, I love sunny days, and you women are just gorgeous. Okay. So I like that. But I ain't going to be here forever. Right? That is the reality of it. And so we have a sunrise, which is a number, and we have a sunset, which is a number. So from the womb to the tomb, you're literally a number.
oh right, and you're just cycling through different expressions of the number. That's how I'm gonna put it.
Hmm. Yes. And so, so for example, if I'm talking to a person who is 13 years old, it's a whole different energy. That person could be on the same month and day, March the 4th, but they're 13 years old. I would read them totally different than a person born in their mid or late 30s or 40s because they have the experience that a teenager doesn't have yet. And then I can talk to another person on March the 4th in their 60s or 70s. They will have experiences that you haven't had yet. So, because of the life's experience, that's why youth and wisdom don't go together. I mean, it's really a beautiful thing when you think about it. I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but I get like, I'm very philosophical about these.
It's all good. No, no, it's no. Let's go there though. Let's go there. I'm curious. Because that's one thing they yeah, I mean, you could probably see some in numerology. I don't want to say I'm a wise person, but when I was younger, right, and even now, people tell me, "Oh, wow, like you're really wise." Like, not, oh, I don't want to say wise. Okay, just for the sake of this, people say you're really wise for your age, right? But I really do believe wisdom comes with experience, not necessarily like, I guess, intuitive knowledge. I don't know how you want to put it. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, so let's get into it actually. So like why is that? Why is there, I mean, do you think there's a difference between the two or
Let me say this to you. There are people, the elders used to say, "Oh, this child was born with a veil over their face," or "This is an old soul." So yes, they're coming in a very youthful looking package, but don't forget, we are part of our ancestors, and you never know which of our ancestors or the spirit of our ancestors have come into it. Or you might go to a reunion of some kind and say, "Girl, there's something about you that reminds me of your grandmother." You know what I'm saying? Maybe there was a connection, things of that nature. So all these things have validity. And so, yes, you can be young, but spiritually old. And, because I've met older people that act very young and young people that act very old. So it's all the mindset too. And so when they say they were born with a veil over their face, that just means they're just mature. And so your mother, father will have you over to babysit, and you come back and say something. They say, "Who you been talking to?" Because of the wisdom that you're speaking of, that how should you know that at this age?
Mhm,
But those are happen to a lot. So this is why you have a much younger person attracted to a much older person in a relationship, and the reverse.
mhm.
So I have people I know that would be in their 20s and 30s. There's one guy I know, he's in his late 30s, but if the woman is less than 50 years old, he's not interested.
What?
But see, this is very important because there are women who carries a youthfulness about them, and they're made to feel guilty. So it's a given that, well, Lloyd, you're a man, so you can attract a much younger woman. But women also can attract younger men to them too. And oftentimes it's given in their name. And you have that. So when I did your name, Lajoie, out of the 6 letters, you have 5 youthful numbers in your name. So that means you will age gracefully.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because for me, it's interesting. I like interesting people, and if you're gonna be interesting, it's probably gonna be some things that aren't like normal, I guess.
That's my favorite word. Interesting. Yeah, when I can't get up there, that's interesting. So that's my favorite word. But yes, because I'm looking at you got uh, they're youthful numbers in numerology. They're the ones, the five, the ones, the threes, and the fives. Well, out of six letters in your name, five of your, and just in your first name, we ain't even counting your last name, five of them fall in the youthful category. So it means you won't look your age, and you will age gracefully and gradually. And it means you showed your ID way past your legal limit, age 18 or 21.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, little things like that. Especially to a club or another store like that where age is required. They say, "May I see your age?" And consider it a compliment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny. It's really funny because when I was younger, especially in my teens, people thought I was older. And now that I'm older, people think I'm younger. I was like, this is weird. Like
Yes, and that's how your life goes.
it's
I think that's a blessing,
oh yeah,
really.
of course,
You
yeah.
know, all you got to do is maintain a diet, exercise, meditation, and you will always maintain your youthfulness for the longest time. And now, if 60 is the new 40, 40's got to be the new 20.
That's what but like no, but
And it's about attitude, too. Attitude.
it's crazy how it's changed so much. I mean, I feel like younger generations, I mean, you can probably talk about this, but I feel like my generations, like the millennials,
Mhm.
we've seen so much change in our lives, at least in my life. And I think it's crazy that growing up people are like, oh, 40 is old, and now I'm like, no, no, like that person's 40, they look like they're 20. Like I literally would travel with women, people thought they were in their 20s, but they were like late 30s, early 40s, and they would like kind of carry themselves like they were
Yes,
in a good way, but like they were in their 20s because they still had that youthful energy, probably because they took care of themselves or they knew how to.
your attitude has a lot to do with it also. So if you and see whatever we tell ourselves, the subconscious mind takes it as a fact.
Mhm.
If we tell ourselves, oh, you're old, you're going to act old and you're going to take all the semblance of being older than what you are, you know. So self-talk is very, very important. It's how we see ourselves. You can't say, oh, I'm always so silly, I'm always so stupid, because the subconscious mind say, okay, we'll make sure you
Mhm.
feel that way.
Mhm. Oh man. Yeah.
So this is why I even have a chapter in my book called Numerology and Thought Reading. So let's say you, a client, approach me and you ask me a question I wasn't too sure. The first thing I would do is ask you a question that taps into your subconscious mind. I would say, okay, I want you to think of the question, focus on it, and then I'll say, without thinking, give me the first, for example, give me any first number that comes to your mind, just one, right quick. Don't even think about it. Give me a number.
5. Okay. First was 4, but then you're like, don't think about it. So I was like, oh, let's do
Okay, see if let's say there was a question of an important nature, especially for yes or
5.
no. If it's a five, it means yes is the answer to the question and you should.
I know today's guest has you filled with questions, but don't worry. You're going to have a chance to sit in this seat on August 15th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have our first live Q&A where you get to ask the questions to a previous guest. Make sure to click on the notification bell, subscribe to the YouTube channel so y'all can be the first to know, because it's going to be first come, first serve. Okay? I'll see y'all there. Peace.
Subconsciously, it means you're ready for a change. You're ready to travel. You're ready for some freedom, some flexibility, some movement. It could also mean that you may have in mind a Gemini or Virgo or anybody born on the 5th, the 14th, or the 23rd of the month, because the subconscious mind knows everything. And so, therefore, we have to really monitor our thoughts very, very carefully. Thus, meditation is excellent for your birthday. For you, it would take you a long way. It would be very good. Well, meditation is good for everybody if they exercise it,
Yeah.
because it allows you to focus, concentrate, and especially under this climate of stress and whatnot.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I try to advocate it because even with my story with or my relationship with meditation, it's a journey. It took me probably 10 years to get to the space where I'm like consistently meditating every single day. And then I've noticed that it changes. In the winter, I meditate a lot more every day. But now that it's spring, my energy, I don't know what it is about the sun, but it's like I do not have the capacity to meditate as much right now.
So sometimes it's not so much the length of the meditation, but it's the consistency of the meditation. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
You know. It's not that you're trying to break meditation records. It's not that kind of party. It's like it is about calming the system and letting, you know, when we're thinking, we're talking, when we pray to God. But when we're in meditation, God is talking to us, if you understand. And thus you would appear to be more in the right place at the right time, a little thing. So if we allow ourselves to meditate, we allow the spirit of God or whatever you want to call it to come in, and it acts as a guide. And you may not be able to explain why something happens, but if you follow through on that hunch or that feeling, more than likely you'll be right on point.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So meditation is wonderful. Everybody should try it.
Yeah, and it really aligns you. But yeah, like you said, like take baby steps. And again, what I learned, I studied meditation in Thailand with monks, and one of the biggest things I learned was like just start with 5 minutes a day. Like that's it. Don't try to do the 30 minutes. Don't try to be like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna do two
that's it.
hours because trust
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
it's not easy. And it takes training even to get to that point. But anyway, but yeah, he was just like 5 minutes a day. Try to do that for a full year straight, and then maybe add another 5 minutes the next day. Um, but that's the key is consistency. It's like you said, it's more about doing it every single day than it is
yeah.
about the amount of time. So thank you for for talking about meditation. Okay, so one thing I wanted to ask, so you talked about technology and the future. I really want to tap into this because there's definitely people right now. I mean, obviously Gen Z,
Yes.
they're all about technology. They're in it to win it. But there's definitely some millennials and even older generations that are just kind of like, I don't know about this technology. I don't know about this data. This data harvesting or whatever you want to call it, data science. So what is the thing to do? Is it to just
Hmm.
give in to the technology and in a sense that just kind of, I guess, going with the masses, I guess, or is it to be skeptical? What would you say as an astro-numerologist? What would you say would be your recommendation?
Well, I would say that every generation has to, don't forget, in the days of our grandparents, the phone was attached to a wall. Okay. You couldn't walk around with it in your, I mean, it would have been unheard of. What do you mean you could put the phone in your pocket? No, it's right here up against the wall, and you can only go so far. Then next was the inventor of the portable phone. It's still hooked to the wall, but you could carry it at least to the couch,
Right.
okay? Until it ran out of juice, then you got to put it back on power. So for this generation here, to tell them that there was once a phone that was tied to the wall and you could only go so far would sound completely foreign to their energy, because that's the environment. But see, don't forget, we are now in the age of Aquarius. We're in the age of the future. And thus, not only does this serve Aquarians, but any woman. So this is the age of Aquarius and the age of women. So you see women's liberation and things like that. But there's some other things too that's going on that's caused a little drama, which is but then we're in the age of Aquarius, and it's always some odd and unusual. So now the men have come up with this concept saying they are soft boys or something like that, I've
Oh,
heard,
that's the thing.
where,
Okay.
for women that say, well, I want to have that man, so and so. So now the guys are doing it. Well, you got to take me out. You can't take me to no chain restaurant. You got to take me to a exclusive steakhouse and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I think what is happening is that this whole programming of men against women and women against men, I think they're finally realizing we need each other. We need each other very, very much. I can't do without you. I don't care. Hanging out with the boys, having a beer, that's good. You, that's a whole different energy. You see what I'm saying? And it's designed to have a balance, to design for family, camaraderie, companionship. You know what I'm saying? So nowadays is okay, you get a dog, you get a cat, or you get let's say you married, and yet the person is not there. The marriage certificate is not going to keep you warm. The marriage certificate is not going to keep you company. It is the person in your life.
Right, right,
You know what I'm
right, right.
saying? You might want to hug. What do you do? Hug the marriage certificate and wrinkle it all up? Okay, no, no. So basically, I do think the Most High designed it that we need each other for that reason, for companionship, camaraderie, the building of nations, the building of families, and things like that. That's part of the sales game to get people to buy into this. And now that women reaching a certain age, men reaching a certain age, are beginning to see that that's not really working. I'm just as lonely as ever, you
Mm.
know, and it puts a lot of mental pressure on us, when it doesn't have to be. So I embrace women. There's no question. That I need a woman in my life of whatever level. And my whole thing is I pray that women feel the same way. And that's how we build things,
Mhm.
because I've heard some of these shows on this. Well, I don't need a man. I don't need a woman. No, that's not true. You may not need us in this moment, but you will need us. And my mother used to have this saying. She used to say, "Don't you worry. They will need you before you need them." So instead of getting to that part, let's embrace each other and add to the balance.
So the first thing I want to say is, it really speaks to movement. This is like one of the, I need to like, I should probably find the reference for this, but throughout the history of Earth, that's what we're gonna say. There was the moments where it was about water, and it was
Hmm.
about, so you get the floods, and Noah's Ark. That's like the period of water, right? And so a lot of people are saying, not a lot of people, a lot of elders are saying that
Hmm.
this is the period of movement. And what is movement? It's when things are shaking. So it's like, and when you think of a movement, when it comes to, let's do like a chemistry, or not chemistry, when you boil water, that's how you get the water to move, right? You have to heat it up a little bit, and it's boiling and it's moving, and you don't really know where it's going. But at some point,
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's the analogy. That's the, the end of the analogy, because I was like, it's gonna turn to vapor, but I don't know. I don't know.
When you talked about the water, that's because we were in the age of Pisces,
Mhm,
baptisms, you
mhm,
know, things of that nature by water. And so that, but see, now we're in the age of Aquarius. So this is why you see kids walking down the block with different color hair, all kinds of things that were unthought of in prior generations. The baby boomers, the modern things like that. But now it's nothing. I mean, if somebody told me that a pair of jeans with a lot of holes in them going to cost me $600, I'd say you crazy.
they look so good. They look so good.
And you can't tell the person the new generation that's not what's up.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
And so me, I try to understand and I try to be open as possible because my generation may not be that person's generation, especially to the younger ones, and especially that in the younger generation where this mindset of entitlement is going to cause a lot of people to be disappointed. Well, you owe me this and you owe me that.
Mhm,
That's going to hurt a lot of people in the end. You Nothing comes knocking on your door. Anything worth your while, worth your passion, worth what you want to, you got to go out there and work for it. You got to earn it, and then you get it. But nobody. That's like me saying, okay, I'm going to sit here on the couch and I'm going to wait for knock on the door for somebody to bring me some money. Well, I'll be waiting till the cows come home. No, that's not going to happen. So this entitlement thing that is permeating this younger generation is going to be very disappointing for them unless those who understand that. For example, I'll have people that'll reach out to me for a client for a
mhm.
session, right? That says, "Can I pay you now?" I says, "If you pay me now, the session is over because I done done my job."
Right, right.
So I'm used to being in a generation where I earn my way. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm paid, that's because I earned it. I put in the energy for it. But a lot of people now in this newer mindset, and but there's some things that are basically traditional, but then with the newer mindset, and I guess with some of the programming of the technology and now the introduction of AI and cloning and all kinds of things, one has to just be a little bit more mindful. But it's not like earning your way. And almost anything worthwhile, you got to put in the work. You can't get around it. You cannot be an expert in those.
Oh, well, of course. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Especially if you're claiming to be an expert, or what I think the new word is thought leader. You got to put in the work. There has been a change in the way that we can, I don't, a change in energy when it comes to manifesting. That's how I'm going to put it. Because we're going from the Piscean age, right, where I feel like it was more masculine. It was more action, 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 action. But now we're going more into the Aquarian age, where it's more feminine. So it's more like, yeah, put in the action, but you need to also have not faith, but the feeling. You
Mhm.
have to have the feeling behind it.
We don't have to do as much work because of the advent of technology. Okay. So, where one time when I wrote my book, I had to do a lot of research, I had to go to the libraries and whatnot. Now, fast forward here to the present, all I got to do is get on a computer, call up Google, and type in what I want, and all my research is right there in front of me. So it's a whole different kind of generation of how things are done. And by the
Oh.
way, Aquarius is a masculine sign.
Yeah, so I just wanted to just clarify some things because so yeah, this makes sense because Aquarian is air, so masculine, Pisces, water, feminine. People are
Yeah.
tapping into that divine feminine. So how does that connect with the Aquarian age if the Aquarian age is air is
This farm isn't just any farm. It grows for Juice Plus. Juice Plus is farm to capsule nutrition made from 30 different non-GMO fruits, vegetables, and berries. Harvested at peak goodness to make nutrient-rich plant powders in convenient capsules. Clinically proven for over 20 years to support your wellness. It makes it easy to help bridge the gap between what you should eat and do eat. Fruits and vegetables are always on the table with Juice Plus. Juice Plus. Goodness is our natural state.
Well, first of all, this is the age of Aquarius, but this is also the age of women. So my question is, what is divine feminine? Let me explain. Everybody's definition of love is not the same. Now, for people who grow up in a loving environment, caring, sharing environment, we do have some people that grow up without no love at all. So they know what the word is by definition, but they haven't lived the experience of being loved. Like me, I was fortunate to be grown up with loving parents, very loving siblings, and that's how we were. But I know some people that didn't have it at all. They didn't have a mom around, the dad was gone, the brothers and sisters it was kind of crazy. So so I've learned how to take those things into consideration. So the question would be, what is divine feminine? Divine for a woman, to me, a woman's nature, she don't have to worry about being divinely feminine because she's feminine by her very nature anyway. But now women are
Mhm.
encouraged in this country, it appears to be, and I could be totally wrong, I'm no expert in this, but appears to be that women has to be rough and hard, and that's not how women are designed. And now they want men to be just the opposite, soft and whatnot. That's not the real nature of a
Mhm.
man. That's not. So if a woman is attacked, she's going to want a man to come to her rescue, not another woman, not unless it's a whole group of women, pocketbooks and everything to bang them over their head and stuff like that. But basically, so that's why I'm saying that once we get past this projection, divine feminine, I can say, well, my divine masculine. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean I walk around with a machismo, my arm flexed and stuff like that all the time? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So these are
Mhm.
terms, these are words that are used, and this country is definitely about labels, and it's how you fit into
Yeah.
that label. And because we don't
Yes.
really
Yes.
understand ourselves, which is what I do, is that we try to therefore, where do we fit? What is my label? Actually, under the laws of God and the Most High, you don't have a label other than, again, like with the way it's projected, we want to see what Kim Kardashian is doing, Kanye's doing, whatever the case is, or these Hollywood stars. But none of them are going to pay your bills. None of them are going to pay your mortgage or rent. None of them are going to buy your food. None of them are going to pay your
Mhm.
phone bill. None of them. Not one of them. Your car note, your car insurance, nothing. So the thing is, instead of looking at them, there used to be this thing called Acres of Diamond by Earl Nightingale. It was way back in the day of my parents. But he was talking about the fact that we're so busy looking in everybody else's backyard, we need to look in our own backyard. And the way I try to explain it to every individual listening to this podcast, the fact that you and I exist, young lady, if you look at the biological principle that millions and millions of sperm come after one egg, that shows you how dynamic you are. Y'all can draw those millions, right? But when that one egg and one sperm meet, you and I, so we're all special. And this is how I look at everybody in my space is special. Everybody walking down the block is special. Everybody I see because
Mhm.
of the process, just the biological process of the sperm going after one egg, and we are the byproduct of that. So all of us, as far as I'm concerned, are divinely special. And once you know that, I have this saying that the God in me loves the God in you. And so this way we're not mean. Now everybody want to be mean and ugly and whatnot, and it's not going to get anybody anywhere, to be honest. But that's my philosophy, and I could be totally wrong, but I don't think so.
No,
There's
no.
no
I mean,
substitute for kindness. To be
yes,
honest.
exactly. Yes, this is something that I always advocate. I don't care where you're coming from. I don't, but you need to at least be kind. And if you are promoting love, then I'm on board. If you are promoting fear in any capacity, no, we can't be friends. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I gotta go.
The fear is designed to control you. So there's a lot of ways:
Mm.
intimidation, fear,
Oh, okay.
bullying, and whatnot, all those things. But if you have a love of yourself, and it took me a while to love myself because we've been programmed to look for the defect that, well, I should have been taller. Well, I'm not taller. And it took me a long time. Well, sure, you got to get over it, buddy. So what you got to do? You're not tall like you want to. So what are you going to do? Um, and so once we decide to accept our limitations as well as our strength, we'll find that balance and we can move forward in the way we're supposed to.
Do the names, the astrology names, like, so Aquarius,
Hmm.
right? Like, is there numerology behind the names
Yes,
also?
because each letter sets off a frequency and each letter has been assigned a number. That's why I said that's what got me into numerology in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, I'm used to the birthdays because when I was shy in school, shy talking with the girls, I says, well, what could make me get my confidence up? And that's when I came across astrology and I found out I was an Aquarius and I'd read everything about Aquarians and how great Aquarians were. But I found that everybody I met wanted to know what made them special. And so it broadened my horizons from one sign to all the signs in the zodiac and then embracing the numbers. And so, but when I found out, unlike astrology, that numerology deals your name, people don't walk around all day saying, hey, Pisces, hey, number four. But we are addressing each other by first name or last name. So the name sets off a frequency, and each letter has been assigned a number, and each number represents an energy. And that's how it works. So the number one is assigned by
Mm.
the planet of the sun. It rules Sunday as a rule. It rules the months of August and February. It rules the eyes, the heart palpitations, irregular blood circulations. It rules the element of fire. The number two rules the element of water and is assigned to the moon, which is assigned to Monday, which is assigned to July, and it's assigned to the feminine principle. The moon represents the woman and the sun represents the male just by those two planets in our heavens alone. Okay. The number three is ruled by the element of fire
Mm-hmm.
that governs Thursday, that governs the months of March and December, respectively, and that governs youthfulness, vitality,
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature. It is governed by the planet of Jupiter, the planet of foreigners, foreign countries, foreign languages. So, therefore, with you being a Pisces, it wouldn't surprise me if you've traveled the world or the world hasn't traveled past you. You may say, well, Lloyd, I don't travel the world, but you happen to be working at an international airport where you meet everybody from across the nation coming past your doorstep. You know, the number four, their energy is air and it's ruled by Uranus and it governs Sunday. So each of these numbers from one to nine govern some aspect of our lives. These numbers govern cities, they govern towns, they govern health, they govern relationships, they govern, I mean, it's just amazing. And little did I know in starting this, if one day somebody said, Lloyd, you'd write books, which I wrote six, four of them are on Amazon. Lloyd, you would have 7,000 students in over
Mm-hmm.
100 and some countries translating to 30 languages. I'd just say, get out of here. You know, you'd have a newsletter, you'd have this, that, and the other, but those things have actually evolved. This is why, even before I got into the online courses, I says numerology is universal. Why? Well, every person on this planet, I don't care what part of the region of the world they live on or what continent, is born on some month, some day, some year. And if that's the case, I got their number. Now, the whole thing is if I'm in Japan where I don't speak Japanese, or another part of the world where I don't speak the respective language, how you do that.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks to the technology, this Aquarian age, they got translator apps on your phone that no matter what language you speak, you just turn to the language and speak. You speak into it, and it'll get back to the person in their respective language. Then you put the phone up to their their voice. They'll speak in their language, and it'll come back to you in English. So we're actually in a wonderful, wonderful time. It's just kind of crazy. It's just kind of crazy, but I love this age. I really do.
Yeah. Okay, so real quick, I wanted to tap into giving some power back to the people in terms of just money and career in the next, let's say the next year, and then if we can, like 10. So we'll just like analyze the years basically.
This year, 2026, is the year of the 8. In numerology, 8 is the finance number. It is about money, authority, achievement, recognition, maturity, reconnecting with your past. It's a cycle of finance and then romance. 2 years ago, it was romance and then finance. This year, it's finance first, then romance. So, what I'm trying to say is that this year is about being efficient.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you might want a new car, but you need to pay your mortgage or whatever the case is. And sometimes our priorities are all kind of strange.
Mm.
So, this is kind of year where I'd say, I'd rather you walk around with $100 pocketbook with $4,000 in it than a $4,000 pocketbook with only $100 in it. So it's about a need versus want, about being
Mm.
knowing how to be efficient. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
wealthiest people look like they have no money, and some of those who don't have no money want to look like $1,000,000. And so it's keeping other people wealthy but not themselves. And so these are the only things about being efficient: waste not, want not, lend not, borrow not. But whatever you buying should have a purpose that it serves. Not to just buy something because you could buy it, buy something because you look cool, but buy because it serves a purpose. Is it for building and investing and whatnot like that? Those are the kinds of things. And if you look at next year, 2025, well, that's the year of the 9, because 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 is 9. And therefore, 9 is a number where it represents dreams come true for a lot of people. It also means terminating, getting rid of people, getting rid of situations, getting rid of the way you think, especially if it's negative or toxic in your actions or deeds toward others. But it also indicates that those under the signs of Aries and Leo and Scorpio, or those born on the 9th, the 18th, and 27th of the month, will be the beneficiary next year. Now, to the positive, it rules those things, but to the negative, 9 is governed by Mars, which governs war. That is the war planet. And therefore, people have to be careful of arguments, confrontations, nicks, fender benders, things of that nature. People on the short fuse already now because I guess the economics or whatever. So it just means to be a little bit more careful. Women should be careful when they're chopping up something in the kitchen where they don't nick a little piece of their finger, or careful when they're ironing and so they don't burn themselves or whatever the case is. But it governs accidents and injuries more than any other thing. But it does mean, on the more positive side, dreams come true, manifesting those dreams, and also long distance journeys. That the travel industry, especially international and otherwise, is going to be up starting in September. Because, see, the year doesn't actually start on January the 1st, it starts in October. So let's say I take you out on a date to a movie, right? And so while we're in the movie, we see the trailers, or coming attractions as they used to call them. And we'll say, okay, we want to see this movie, we want to see that movie. Well, when that movie comes, it'll be around January. So I always call October of every year the preview month. It gives you a snapshot. And I've learned that from women, because women can sense, I think next year's going to be good. I think next year's going to be, I don't know. And so that's why I call it the preview month. It gives you a snapshot of what is to be. So in October of this year of 2024, a lot of us going to start seeing or sensing who we need to let go, what dreams we need to fulfill, and definitely looking on a long distance trip. So I know one guy, he's planning to go to Egypt next year. That's long distance. Another person might be terminating a relationship, or another person may be fulfilling their longest dream. So it all depends. And the year after that, 2027, no, 2020, because it's 2024, 25, 26. 2026 is when you stand on your own. Everybody's going to have to learn how to really be more independent. So for those people in codependent relationships, they're going to be forced to stand on their own. They're going to be forced to really do things that's in their best interest. And that's the case. And that year will favor Leos and Aquarians and Aries, or people born on a date that adds up to a 1 or 4. And the year after that are the visionary people. The year after that are creative people. So you can do this. And I could say, let's say if somebody says, okay, Lloyd, what would be the year in 3037? I pray the world is still here. But in 3037, it will be a 4 universal year. And thus, Aquarians will do well, Geminis will do well, Leos will do well, anybody born on the 4th, the 13th, the 22nd, or the 31st. Because 2037 adds the 13, and 1 plus 3 is 4. So this the beauty of what I like. I can go way back in the past. I can go way up in the future. And I already know it. It's like a forecast of the weather. I think it's great.
Yeah, and I love that you put it so simply too. Like it's like, when you have the tools, if somebody were to buy your book too, they can then have the tools to do these calculations themselves and be like, okay, like, 30 years in the future, where's my business gonna be? And they can just do it on their
Yeah.
own. And I just love that because that's really the whole point of like numerology, astrology, anytime you're like looking into yourself, it's allowing you to know yourself more, and that's the important part. It's like know yourself and have the power to do these yourself also, so that when that 1 year comes around, you can be more independent.
Yeah, that's right. You can be more proactive. And see, the 1 year also sets the stage of the next 9 years to move forward. So that's how it works. And everybody, but then there is the personal year cycle. See, the personal year cycle comes from, instead of 2024, I then add the month and day of a person. So if I add March the 4th, the 2024 is a 6. So this is your romance and finance cycle year. So let's say you're not in a relationship. Well, that's going to change before the year is over. Let's say you are in a relationship. That's door number 2. If it's been halfway decent, you'll find that by listening to the partner's conversation that, I think they're ready to go to the next level. Or if you're in a relationship, door number 3, where this person been working their nerves, I'd say by summertime it's going to be like, honey, we got to go in separate directions, okay? So only the person knows what. So this is you to go back to school. Your hair probably didn't look like that back in September, October, but you decided that, you know what, I think I want to change my hair. I think I want to get back in the gym and lose a pound or two. And so, because this year for you is about beautification, going back to school, making adjustments. But this also the year for you of compensation. So let's say you got into an arrangement with a party or parties and they did not fulfill their end of the bargain. Well, the law of compensation will make up for it this year for you. So there's a lot. There's a lot. This is a year of adjustments also. But the fact that your name is a 4 and you're born on a 4, it tells me that you're really a genius. You're really, really a genius. You're not normal. But most people you read about in the history books were never normal at that point in history. But later on, when you read up the centuries ahead, they were a genius. You know what I'm saying? And so it goes. What you gonna do?
Yeah, but like y'all take notes. For those of y'all who want to be put in the history books, you have to be original. I mean, this is something that I've noticed with any time there was somebody, saying something that was opposing what everybody else thought.
Yeah,
Not it doesn't even have to take a lifetime. 8 to maybe sometimes it's 8, to be honest, it takes time. But 8 to 10 years later, everybody else is on board. It's like I've seen this. I studied biology in college. It's the same thing. All of the original like scientists, whether it was women, men, when they found out something different that went against what everybody else said, nobody accepted it. They were disregarded by the scientific community. And then 10 years later, everybody accepted it. And then 20 years later, it's put in every single textbook. Okay. So take note if y'all want to be a genius.
and so you're born on a 4. Your name is a 4. So I know within that, even if you don't know within yourself, that you have all the genius qualities. Because 4s are visionary, 4s are ahead of the curve, 4s are unconditional, 4s are considered the mavericks in life, the black sheeps. The okay, there she goes again. And this is why it says they're secret enemies, because people over time will wind up jealous or envious or insecure with you. And for a 4 person like yourself, it's always a mystery. Listen, I'm just trying to do my job. I don't know why they're hating on me. I come here, I do my job. I don't try to interfere with nobody. But that's because 4s are not traditional. You are untraditional and unconventional. But somebody has to be. And see, this is very important because this country, the United States, is a 4. Everything about it is a 4. It's founding history 13 stars, 13 stripes, 13 colonies, 1 plus 3 is 4. Thomas Jefferson that wrote the Declaration of Independence was born on the fourth month on the 13th day. The Declaration of Independence was signed at 1300 Locust Street in Philadelphia by 13 signers. The first president, George Washington, was born on the 22nd, which is a 4. E pluribus unum, 13 letters. The White House, 13 letters. Don't tread on me, 13 letters. The cornerstone to the White House was laid on the 13th of the month in October. I mean, our president is elected every 4 years. The area code to Washington, D.C. is 202, which is a 4. The zip code to Washington is 20002, which is a 4. It's broken into northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, 4 divisions. There are 4 streets, 1-syllable streets, 2-syllable streets, flower streets, and alphabet streets. So, I mean, and of all the streets, there's no J, no X, no Y, no Z streets. So that means it's only a total of 22 streets, alphabet streets, which is a 4.
Oh, that's crazy. Somebody knew something. Somebody knew. That's crazy.
And the last presidential election was in 2020, which is a 4. And what's so interesting, Pamela Harris is born on the 20th. Biden is born on the 20th, and that's 2020, and that's when they won the election in 2020, a 4. So people would say I'm stretching about, I say, yeah, right. Yeah, okay, sure.
You know, the United States is one of the most influential countries in the world. And I don't want to say like maybe, you know, people, that's debatable, but I would say that we have a very large amount of historical people who come from the United States who influence the world. It's really, and so do you think is that why? Because it's a 4 country, or I don't know, like, am I just.
You know, 4 is futuristic. The 4s are very different, very unique, and 4 also rules secret enemies, such as this country has with various nations. But what's interesting is this: where the United States believes in the 4, China believes in the 6 or the 8, and the opposition number to the 4 is the 6 or the 8. And this may explain some of the tensions between China and the United States. And in fact, when I was in China, if you said 4, the word 4 sounds like the word death in Chinese.
Oh my.
And in fact, there was an expatriate that moved to China teaching, and they would, you know, they have little motorbikes because they'll ride around in motorbikes. Well, what she did was she put cross and skull bones on her bike, and she drew a lot of number 4s around her bike. She said her bike was never stolen because 4s are associated with bad luck.
Right.
Okay, but she understood the culture and the mindset. You see what I'm saying?
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, and if you look at products that come out of China, China almost have a number on it. It'll either add up to an 8 or a 6 primarily, because these are the numbers that China considers lucky. Other countries have their own numbers too, but United States in particular, China, France is close to the United States in that sense. Bastille Day is in July, all those other things. But I just thought it was interesting that China believes in the same numbers that are opposing the United States and vice versa. And I'm saying, does this explain why on the international stage that China and the United States will always have moments of disagreements?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a correlation because numbers carry energy. That's so interesting.
In China, they believe 6 and 8 are good luck. But you start to say, I want to let you finish your thought.
Yeah. So 6 and 8 is the money numbers, right?
Yes.
So 4 is foundational number. 6 is the 6 and 8 money numbers. Which one is stronger? That's what I'm gonna say. We just gonna go there real quick.
Well, I'll put it like this. Every number has its point. When it comes to money, 6s and 8s rule.
Okay.
And in fact, I understand a lot of the Rockefeller Center now is owned by Chinese. A lot of things in this country now that was traditionally American are owned by people from China. Office buildings, houses, homes. Yeah, because 6 and 8s are your property numbers. They love property.
The property number.
And not only that, but then China is now part of, yes, their property numbers. If you talk to a number 6 or 8, if they have their way, if they're living in a townhouse or a condo or a co-op, if they had their way, they would prefer to live in a house where there's all four sides to it, where they can grow their little cucumbers and tomatoes and plant their flowers and stuff like that. Yes.
Oh, that's so interesting. Okay. And I mean, it also speaks to why China is invading. I shouldn't say like that, but why they're invading other countries.
Well, that's all what they call geopolitics. But I just noticed that when I was in China, they lean on the sixes and the eights. And if you look, for example, there's a popular uh, drone company out of China called DJI. DJI is the most popular best-selling drones. Huh?
I have one.
Yeah, I have one too. Well, if you look at DJI, D is a four, J is a one, and I is a one. That's a six.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah, that's crazy. Got me thinking. So, if you were to build something in a certain country, do you want to align the number of what you're building with the country that you're going to do business in?
To a degree, yes, but I would say you should always align the number with the building because don't forget you're going to have to live in that structure.
Okay.
And like say, let's say you build a building number that's a six. I notice since fours and sixes are somewhat oppositional to each other, you could live in the six home, but your attitude is, you could take it or leave it. You wish you could live somewhere else, but right now I got to work with this. So my whole thing is if you're going to build something or live in a home, you try to live in a home that's matching in alignment with your birthday, because don't forget each date of birth sets off an energy or frequency. And so does a house and whatnot. So if I was to look at the house where you lived at, so for example, where you live right now, I can describe your house. I don't need the state, the avenue, or whatever. What is the number of the address where you living at right now where we're doing this interview?
It's 440.
Really? Well, that's an eight. Yeah.
Still, it's too.
So when I see the fours,
Hmm.
don't forget, fours always odd and unusual. So it tells me there's something about that house that's constructed in a very odd and unusual way. Not only that, because it adds up to an eight, it's of eight rules earth. So that means structural challenges. There may be cracks or foundational challenges around the property, or cracks along the walls or the ceilings and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the foundations make the lines. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said structural challenges. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And don't forget, I don't have no idea where you live.
Right.
None, none. But it shows you how numbers, once you know how to properly interpret it, can tell you about your personality or a disposition or a mannerism or a condition or whatever the case is. And the fact that you are four and the two numbers are 4, 4, I think is interesting. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, because again, I travel, so I need to start tracking all the places I live at. But just happens that now, yes, 440.
If you looked at the house you lived at the longest and most had the most pleasure, more than likely that house number either added to a one or four or three, because those are your angel numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually 413. That's what it is. 413.
Okay.
4, 1, and 3.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have to look. I think the longest house I've lived in was when I was born for like 10 years. So, um, but
You,
yeah,
you remember that house?
no, no, that's too long ago. Wait, there's too many houses since then.
Oh,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think I explained to you
okay,
before the
okay.
show. Like, I'm a military brat, so we moved around a lot growing up. So I don't know. But before we go into closing, I wanted to ask you what I ask all of my guests. How do you see yourself expanding from here?
Well, I've written 6 books, but I'd like to write a couple of more. I've always loved helping humanity. So I'd like to teach, but what I would like to teach is children.
Mm,
And the reason why is here in America, math seems to be a problem in the minority or African American communities. And yet, numbers are African in its origin. And what I would like to do, regardless of the child and what part of the human family they come from, is to teach children. And I've taught in colleges, I taught in a high school, I taught in an elementary school. The elementary schools are the best because they're so excited.
mhm.
And then I get them to read their teachers, and they be all in their teachers' business. And I notice I'll be invited back to colleges and high schools, but I'm never invited back to elementary schools.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. And kids learn faster. I can teach a child a row of 25 numbers in less than a minute and a half, and I'll finish doing the exercises. Then when I come back, they can give me all 25 because of the technique of how I used to do it.
Wow.
So, for example, you give a child a poem to read, they'll stumble all over it. They'll hear a song 2 or 3 times and they be bopping right back to that song.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on the approach and the technique you use. So, my technique of teaching children how to remember long list of numbers, long string of numbers, is to tell it to them in a story. And by telling them in a story, they tend to remember.
I love that.
If I says, well, 2 plus 2 and 1 and 6 and 8 and 10 and whatnot, they'll be like, huh? If you tell to them in a story, they'll remember it better.
That's beautiful.
So these are all the things I've learned. And I really enjoy being on with you, running my mouth, as I call it. I love what I do. And when I first came across this, my desire was that everybody should know this. I still feel that way, but I now realize that we all have our preferences. But if you knew how to work numbers, you could know how to be in the right place at the right time in harmony with the universe. That's all you want to be. That's all you want to be.
Right.
And it takes less wear and tear on your pocketbook, your resources, your mind, your body, your spirit.
Right.
And people will begin to notice once you become aware, they'll say, gee, you're always in the right place at the right time. Yep. Yep. That's it. And that's the birth of my mobile app, of Star 8, the numerology app. So people could learn how to be in alignment with themselves and the universe and the months and the days and the weeks ahead.
I love that. Thank you. And yes, and so for those of y'all listening, that app is free. I've downloaded it myself. It gives you more than enough like information on numerology. Like literally, like I don't know what, but when I was, downloading it, I didn't really expect I'm gonna be honest, I didn't expect much. Like I expected like, like 1 or 2 numbers, but no, there's descriptions of each number. I think you give the ideal or the angel days of the week and the angel numbers.
I give compatibility. I give also the best cars, the address, business names, travel dates, all that stuff. It's all in there. But but everything was built around the calendar because for like decades I would do calendars for business clients, and I would do it every year. I'd teach them how to do it, but they want me to do it. So I says, well, let me develop this app. So once they punch in the birthday, everything is aligned, the calendar's aligned, and they can know in advance, months in advance, years in advance, and how to plan. Or they can even go back and say, well, what was 3 months ago? And all that stuff will be right on their phone on my Apple Star 8.
Yeah, and that's yeah, I didn't know that either, but that's really helpful because now you guys can actually learn how to live in alignment pretty easily. You just have to download an app. And everything will just show up for you and you can manage your life and really try to not even try to, but you can start to live optimally, which is something I love because I love efficiency. Love efficiency. So thank you so much, Lloyd, for being a guest on the show. I really, really appreciate it. I really hope to have you back on again. We talked about so much in this episode. And I just can't wait for the audience to listen and to learn from your wisdom and from your experience.
Thank you very much. And my apologies for cutting you off. I get excited when I go about these things. So for that, I apologize.
No, it's all good. I love it. That's what I'm saying. Like it's I love it because you have so much wisdom and I love that, and that's something that I really intended to bring to my audience from this podcast was wisdom and experience and talking to people who have that. And so I really appreciate it. And you probably know this from my name, but when I hear something, my brain just goes, okay, what else can we explore? So
So it just tells me you're a very unique person. And I would not want you to change. Always be unique, always be a standout, because your number is one of the geniuses in the number scope. That's why you're going to have haters there. Misery love company. So why should you be a genius?
yeah, I've already, I mean, I already talked to Jackie about this, but she kind of gave me kind of a forecast of when that'll pop off. So I'm prepared. I'm prepared, which is great. This is why I love numerology. This is why I love cardiology because can prepare myself. Okay. So it's not as much of a shock.
All right.
So thank you, Lloyd. Okay.
And thank you very, very much.